The one-to-one function f is defined below. F of x equals the square root of 5x plus 5. We want to find f inverse of x and find the domain. So the original function is a square root. It's helpful to remember that when we have our original function f of x and we find its domain and range, then the relationship is that the domain becomes the range of the inverse, and the range becomes the domain of the inverse. Let's start by finding the domain of f of x. So since it's a square root, square roots, when we graph them, have to be positive. So the original square root of x, we can take the square root of 0 and the square root of 1, and it increases to the right, but we don't have any negatives that we can take the square root of. So the domain of the square root function must be positive. So I'm going to take this expression, 5x plus 5, and I must set it greater or equal to 0. Solving for x, I get 5x is greater or equal to negative 5. Dividing by 5 gives me x is greater or equal to negative 1. So the number line tells me that this graph starts at negative 1, it's equal to it, and it goes greater to the right. So the interval then is brackets negative 1 to infinity. Brackets is used when the endpoint is included in the domain. So I found the domain of f is negative 1 to infinity. This means that the range of f inverse of x is also going to be negative 1 to infinity because the domain of the original becomes the range of the inverse. Now the range of f I can find by looking at this picture of the graph. This graph starts at the x-axis at negative 1 and increases to the right forever. If you look at the coordinate plane with the x and the y-axis, your y-axis is up and down. The lowest point of this graph is at negative 1, 0. So the lowest value in the range is 0 and the highest is infinity since it goes up forever. 0 is included in the range, so we do brackets. So the range of f becomes the domain of the inverse. So the domain of the inverse is brackets 0, comma, infinity with parentheses. Now let's find the inverse of the function. So I replace f of x with y. Y equals the square root of 5x plus 5. I switch the variables, so x equals the square root of 5y plus 5. So now I want to solve for y. First I have to undo the square root. The inverse of a square root is squaring. So I square both sides. Now I have x squared equals 5y plus 5 since the square cancels the square root. Next you're going to isolate the 5y group. So you're going to move the positive 5 to the left by subtracting it. So x squared minus 5 equals 5y. Lastly, get y alone by dividing both sides by the 5. X squared minus 5 divided by 5 equals y. Since the original function is f of x, this is f inverse of x. So I know f inverse of x is x squared minus 5 divided by 5.